Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album. Now, of course, this was not Fleetwood Mac's debut album, but it was the first album that showed the appearance of Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks as part of the group. And I can't imagine anybody who was a fan of the previous blues band version of Fleetwood Mac hearing these guys come in and just completely revamp the band and turn them into such a pop songwriting outfit. The impact of Lindsey Buckingham's songwriting is immediately felt, and it's impossible to ignore Stevie Nicks, or what an amazing voice and what an amazing artist she is. And the two of them together coming in and revamping Fleetwood Mac was, I think, a profoundly amazing move. Most people don't even know that a Fleetwood Mac existed without that sound added to it. And there are some really, really great classic songs in this album that's going to make it very, very competitive. As a matter of fact, songs like Rhiannon are almost impossible to beat, so it's almost a perfect song. But like a lot of Fleetwood Mac albums, there are some inconsistencies that happen that arise just in my first few passes of listening to the full album. I do kind of think that Christy McVie's songwriting feels kind of flat and plain Jane in comparison to the Nicks Buckingham component of the group. Her songs are fine, but they feel a little bit almost like, by today's standard, almost like country songs, almost that simple. But it's an interesting dynamic that shows up in the 70s. You just don't see now, where you have distinct songwriters in the same group writing songs from different angles. And somehow it's able to cohere due to the personality of the players. And that's what you see happening with this Fleetwood Mac album. And we've already talked a little bit about David Gilmour being sort of the anchor for Pink Floyd's sound as far as guitar sounds goes. And I think that certainly you could say a lot of the same things about Lindsey Buckingham in relationship to Fleetwood Mac. He has as much expressiveness in his own way as David Gilmour had within the boundaries of Pink Floyd, and adds that same amount of atmosphere, just in an entirely different way. However, the Floyd factor for Fleetwood Mac really only has to do with the years that it was released, because this sort of was released around the same time that Pink Floyd's most prominent work came out. So I really can't give them a high Floyd factor. They don't really reach for the same psychedelic atmospherics that Pink Floyd did. So despite being a great album with lots of iconic songs in it, 4.5 out of 10 on the Floyd factor, not on the quality factor.